It is Wednesday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And the Splash Zone is back in your life. I am Matt Modi with my 4 favorite NBA player props for tonight's NBA betting slate. We got a massive slate of games for the NBA tonight. I believe we have 13 games on tap for us tonight. Some of them don't have player props posted yet. There were some plays that I was looking at, which I unfortunately wasn't able to lock in because no player props were posted. But I really like the 4 plays that we had. Real quick, before I can give you today's picks, to do a recap from yesterday, we had a little bit of a bounce back day yesterday. I gave out 3 picks on this YouTube channel. We got 2 of those 3 to cash. Thank you to SGA going over 31.5 points. Thank you to D'Angelo Russell going over 20.5 points. We got both of those to cash. We missed Jaime Jaquez Jr. over 20.5 points, rebounds, assists. He had 19, and I watched him smoke a layup late in the fourth quarter. That really hurt. Would have loved to have a 3-0 day, but we will take 2-1, up 0.97 units. On the entire season, we are up 43.77 units with an ROI of 25.37%. Obviously, those numbers are still incredible, but after the horrible day we had Monday, I was hoping for a little bit of a better bounce back yesterday, meaning sweeping the slate. But let's hope we can get that done today instead. If you're not already, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then for this video, like, comment, all that good stuff. And then I will say, I don't mention this a ton, but I would recommend giving me a follow on Twitter, because as odds for different player props get posted over the course of the day, I will tweet out more plays as well. Like last night, I tweeted out Sabonis getting 10 plus assists. That was plus 140 odds. And we got that one to cash. So I don't track those because they don't go out officially on the YouTube channel. But we are having success with our Twitter plays as well. But that's enough of that. Appreciate everybody, again, who's been rocking with me with this cold streak that hopefully we got out of yesterday and will continue to get out of tonight. And let's get into today's picks. Our first play is in the Hawks versus Hornets game. And we're taking Trey Young over 24.5 points. This is at plus 100 odds at ESPN Bet. I will say right off the bat, all 4 plays that we have today are going to be on ESPN Bet. I don't know what was up with ESPN Bet. They are falling asleep at the wheel this morning with their odds or whatever, but we were getting some really good value on ESPN Bet, starting with this Trey Young one. The majority of books, I will say, are on the over 23.5 points for Trey, but they're heavily juicing the over. And then if you look at books that price this at 24.5, which what we're taking, is Bet Online prices it at 24.5, heavily favoring the over at minus 123. So pretty good play that we got from a odds perspective. And I like this just looking at the play, the situation, and all that stuff as well. We do get to fade recent results with Trey Young, who has gone under this in 3 of his past 4 games. Granted, the one game he went over, he scored 37 points. And prior to this 4-game stretch, he was absolutely on fire. He had cashed in 6 straight games, again, heading into this 4-game stretch. So that's the nature of the NBA. It's only natural for things to start to swing back and forth. So as soon as they start swinging one way, that's when they start swinging the other way. So after a 4-game stretch in which he's gone under in 3 games, perfect time to buy back in on Trey Young. With the Hornets as banged up as they are, as just with nobody left on their roster after trades as they are, their defense is just a total abomination at this point. On the entire season, they have the worst defensive net rating in the entire NBA. That makes sense when you look at their roster. Now, if you just look at the matchup itself, like Hornets defense versus point guards, I will admit this isn't the juiciest matchup in the world. It's not like the top points given up to point guards or something like that I normally target. But part of my logic for this play is with the injuries to the Hawks, right? Clint Capella is out. Onyeka Okongwu is out as well. 2 guys that Trey could pass to as a lob threat. That also means Trey might need to score more. Part of my logic for being under his assists last week was these guys were out, and I thought he was going to score more and pass less, and I was half right on those predictions. He did score a lot more. He just didn't assist less. So for tonight, I'm righting those wrongs, going with his point total over. I will say I also like the point total over for DeJounte Murray as well. Obviously, I'm just going to stick with our official play, which is the Trey Young one. But I do like DeJounte Murray as well. Looking at the games here with played without Clint Capella, in his past 19 games, Trey has played without Clint Capella. He's gone over this in 13 of those games, 4 of which have been this year. 4 of 7, I should say, he's gone over without Clint Capella this year. And the only game that Onyeka Okongwu missed, Trey cashed this over as well. I'm laddering Trey up to 30 plus points as well for a half unit and if you want a little bit of a safer same game parlay, I kind of like Trey 20 plus points and Murray 15 plus points as well, if you like to be on the safer side. I'm only going to track our official play, but I like to throw out some honorable mentions as well. Next up, Pacers versus Raptors. Pascal Siakam over 22.5 points, plus 105 odds. Again, this is all going to be at ESPN Bet. And this is another really good price that we're getting at ESPN Bet. I'm not going to say this for every single play because I understand it's not the best context or best content, just talking about odds. But it's kind of a similar situation where every book either prices this at 21.5 while heavily juicing the over, or we're giving us a really good price outside of ESPN Bet for the over 22.5. No other book at 22.5 has this for plus money outside of ESPN Bet. And the Raptors are a situation where you can't look at their season-long stats because of how dramatically their roster has changed. Obviously, the OG Anunoby trade and the Pascal Siakam trade to the Pacers, it's going to really, really affect their defense. So you can't look at their entire season. You have to isolate it. Since the OG Anunoby trade, which happened right at New Year's, since January 1st, the Raptors have the second worst defensive net rating in the NBA, and they're allowing 121.4 points per game. That's the fourth most in the NBA. Again, this is since January 1st. Similar to Trey Young, Pascal Siakam also has been colder recently. He's gone under this in 3 straight games. Similar to Trey Young, he was playing well prior to that. He had cashed it in 4 of 7 games prior to that. In one game in which he didn't cash it, he had exactly 22 points. So hooks are brutal. They still count one way or another. Let's hope that doesn't happen tonight. We don't have to worry about getting hooked. The Raptors also just lost a lot of their interior big men depth with the trades and with injuries as well. Now they did get some guys back, but over the past 3 games, all 3 power forwards have gone over their point total over under against the Raptors. That includes Wembanyama, who scored 27 against them. Yeah, no, I'm not saying Siakam is Wemby, but he should be able to have his way with this poor Raptors defense. And it's his first game back against the Raptors in Toronto. You never know how much to put into the revenge narrative, so I don't want to put a ton of stock into that, right? Like, that's not why I'm playing this. It just maybe if he gets 2 extra points because of the revenge narrative, that would help us. That's our second play. Third play, Bulls versus Cavs. Darius Garland over 6.5 assists, plus 120 odds at ESPN Bet. Since coming back from injury on February 1st, where he missed a ton of time, but he did come back February 1st, Garland's played in 7 games, and he's cashed this over in 4 of those 7 games, including 3 straight. So unlike the first 2 plays, we're absolutely not fading recent results with this one. Instead, we are backing recent results because I still don't think the books have properly adjusted Darius Garland's assist number now that he's playing more minutes, right? Like when he first came back, his first 2 games, fewer than 25 minutes. After that, he's playing between 25, 27, sometimes up to 28 minutes. Well, his last 2 games have been the 2 games in which he's played the most minutes since the injury, including his last game against the Sixers, which was the only game in which he has played over 30 minutes since he came back from injury. He played just under 31, so maybe in this game he gets to 31, 32 minutes, something like that. I know they were being cautious with him, but as they ramp up his playing time, I'm guessing he should once again play 30 or more minutes. RotoWire, for what it's worth, projects him to play 31 minutes. This isn't quite back to where he was pre-injury, where he was playing 35, 36, but still more than he's been playing. And in games in which Darius Garland has played 30 or more minutes, he averages about 11 potential assists per game, and has cashed this over in 7 of his last 10 games in which he's played 30 or more minutes as well. And the matchup against the Bulls is a matchup that we've targeted point guard assists a lot recently, as it's one of the juicier matchup for point guards to rack up a bunch of assists. It's because of how they play defense, right? They don't have any type of paint presence or rim protection. So whenever a guard is able to penetrate into the paint, they're aggressive with helping, whether it's helping off of shooters, helping off of big men. It just leaves a lot of either lob opportunities, easy layups under the basket, or kick out opportunities for catch and shoot. And the Cavs love to take catch and shoot opportunities between Strus, Wade, Merrill. They love guys that can catch and shoot. And they're shooting over 41% on 26 catch and shoot 3-point opportunities per game. That's the 4th most in the NBA. And that's since January 1st, which is when they kind of started their hot streak as well. So Darius Garland, I'm taking him officially over 6.5 assists. I also like him over 8.5 assists for really juicy odds. That one's best offered on DraftKings. I just put a third of a unit on that one. Let's hope that he can come through for us. He's been on fire recently. Let's hope it continues. Next up, fourth and final pick of the video, Clippers versus Warriors game. James Harden, 10 plus assists, plus 125 odds at ESPN Bet. I know we're going back to James Harden, who I admit has burned us a couple times in the past, but this is the perfect opportunity to buy back in on his assists going up. And it's another situation where we get to fade recent results. And it's another situation where we're getting an incredible price, right? ESPN is offering this to us at plus 125. The next closest book has this at plus 110. FanDuel is at like plus 107. And then DraftKings is all the way down at minus 105. So similar to our first two plays, and unlike the Garland one, we do get to fade recent results here, as Harden has missed this in 3 straight games. Prior to that, he had cashed in the previous 2. And we all remember the ridiculous stretch that Harden went on towards the middle of the season and on with his assist number. It's cooled down a little bit recently, but in a good matchup against the Warriors, which we'll get into, now is the perfect time to buy back in on Harden assists. Since December 14th, which is when Harden assists really started to take off, he's averaging about 14 potential assists per game. That's the 8th most in the NBA in that span. And he's tied for the 4th most assists per game in the NBA in that same span as well. Now, I know that Kawhi is out for the Clippers tonight, and that's definitely a bummer. But with no Kawhi, Harden sees his usage rate increase. And this is per RotoWire. A Harden assist actually go up per 36 minutes when Kawhi is off the court, right? They go up by 1.2 assists per 36 minutes when Kawhi is off the floor. That makes sense, right? Because he has a higher usage rate, and yeah, he's getting one less person to pass to. Granted, Kawhi's he's an isolation type player. So more pick and rolls with Zubac, more pick and rolls, catch and shoot for Paul George. That kind of makes sense why his assists are slightly up without Kawhi in the lineup. It's also a really good matchup against the Warriors. They're allowing the 2nd most assists per game to someone of James Harden's playmaking style. Last time these two teams played, Harden went off for 15 assists. Granted, Kawhi did play in that game, but let's hope he can get close to the 15 he got last time, getting us to 10. And that's all we got. 4 plays for you guys to lock in. If you are riding with me, make sure to like the video, comment, and let me know if you're riding. And then, of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you've made it this far, it's the last thing I say in every video, but I do have a dub club. It's only $5 a month. And all I do with the dub club is every play I give out for free on YouTube, I also will send out via dub club. It's only $5 a month, with the logic being that if you don't want to watch the YouTube video or whatever, you can get my plays immediately texted to you. So you don't have to watch the YouTube video, or you don't have to wait until the odds change or something like that. That's kind of the logic for the dub club. Whether you want to spend $5 a month to get them immediately, whether you just want to watch the videos and get them for free, is totally up to you. Either option is fine with me. And I appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.